this unforgettable vacation memory. It didn't actually begin here.
Welcome everyone to a special edition of Straight Talk with Joe Vollano. We got a lot going on. My email has been blowing up with different questions and different emails about green screens and lack of access to our president and a bunch of different things. So we're going to actually tackle some of those tonight and on this special edition. And we are going to try to figure out what the hell is going on, because it is a crazy time that we live in right now. And I am trying to make sense of it, but a lot of it is just madness. We have a president who doesn't know where he is half the time. I got some videos for you guys tonight. We're gonna talk about the green screen and why some of the thing like that has to happen, because it doesn't really make much sense. But so we're going to talk about that, and we are going to talk about some of the immigration stuff that from some of the interviews with the Secretary of Homeland Security that came out. So we got a lot to get to. So let's dive on in. And I'm going to throw up here. We have a new email. So if you guys want to, if you don't want to give us a call, if you don't want to call in, look at that. The phone number is cut off. If you don't want to call in, we have an email address, straighttalkjv@gmail.com, and I monitor that throughout the show. So by all means, if you don't want to call in, you could send an email to us. And if you want to call us, you know the area code 203 679 9610 is the number, and I'll fix that throughout the show. So let's dive right on into what is going on here. And I think this could all be summed up in one word, and that's transparency. There's no transparency in the White House right now, which leads to conspiracy theories, and it leads to, uncertainty, especially in the markets, which we've been seeing in the last couple of days. And so we're going to dive into what is really going on here. And one, why isn't our president taking questions from reporters and from, just during press conference? We're going to see one where his staff is pushing people out the door, literally trying to get him away from the reporters as quickly as they possibly can. And that's a dangerous thing that happens, because one, then the people have no confidence in what you're trying to do. So, but let's talk about the interviews today in immigration, because I just want to kind of wrap up and as my favorite press secretary says, let's circle back here. So we're going to circle back to what we talked about a couple days ago, and some interesting facts were mentioned today. that I think are extremely important because, we need to know that our border and the people that are coming through, whether legally or illegally, and being detained are being held properly. And for years, we heard that under Trump, kids were being held in cages, and I showed you some videos that nothing was coordinated, but yet, we showed you the pictures a couple days ago of the T-shirts, not only on an individual, but on a whole group. And then there was an interview this morning that I was watching on Sunday with Chris Wallace, and the Secretary of Homeland Security was on, basically blaming Trump for everything, which I found quite odd because, one, we never had this problem under Trump. And we're going to go through the numbers on it because the numbers are very telling. The numbers are extremely telling. So let's look at President Trump's, because we're not going to talk about January because it wasn't a full month. So we're going to start with December for Trump, and then we'll go through the first full month of President Biden. So for President Trump, we had 74,018 detainees for the month of December. For February, which is 3 days shorter than December, we had 100,441. On a month shorter. 100,441. And I think the number that most catches my eye is the number of unaccompanied minors. These are the kids that are being held in the as they call it, cages. Back in December, 4,993. In February, 9,457. That's an astounding number. People of parents just handing their kids over to the cartels to bring them north. And even in this interview, the Secretary of Homeland Security said a lot of these kids are getting abused. Some of them are being raped. So my question is, why wouldn't you go with the Donald Trump theory and say, hey, we're going to cut off funding to these countries. They're allowing these migrants to head up north and invade, it's an invasion of their American border. And you notice once he did that, it stopped. But the Biden administration is hell-bent on getting rid of everything that was related to Donald Trump. That's not how things should go. You should be doing everything possible to protect the United States, not make it more vulnerable. And they did that by repealing President Trump's Safe Third Country. It's an agreement where migrants seek asylum in another country and get approved before coming up. That just makes common sense. Just makes common sense. And if an unaccompanied minor came to the border and was detained, they were put back on a plane and sent back to their parents. Not just let into the country. It's not the country's responsibility to go look for a phone number inside a child's pocket and hoping that it works and that you can connect with someone. We're a compassionate country, but at some point, you got to say enough is enough, and you got to draw the line. And the other problem with down in the border is that the press has absolutely no access to view what's going on down there. And when pressed today, the secretary said, well, it's coronavirus. But yet, he and members of Congress headed down there to see what was going on, to see the conditions in which these people are being held in. Now imagine for 1 second that Donald Trump told them no, they can't go down there. Just imagine the outrage that we would have heard. But the media continues and continues to throw cover. And again, with the lack of transparency comes the questions about what's really going on. Who's really in control? And when, again, videos like this green screen come up, is it real? So, at some point, something's got to give. We have a president who doesn't take questions. We have an administration who hides everything possible to make sure that they don't become vulnerable to anything. They did this throughout the entire campaign by keeping Joe in the basement, and they're doing it now. They're doing it once again. We have a president who's hiding. And when he is out in the public, he's saying the craziest friggin' things. He doesn't know where he is sometimes. We have the videos with the green screen. And then we have him falling, tripping 3 times up Air Force One. I raised these questions during the campaign. I raise them again now. What the hell is going on? We have serious issues in this country. We have serious foes with Russia, with China, and many other countries right now that are laughing at us because they know that the United States is very vulnerable right now. Let's just be honest about it. We are extremely vulnerable right now. Just look at the Chinese and the Secretary of State up in Anchorage. China railed into us. That never happened under a Trump administration. That's just fact. You cannot like it. You cannot agree with it. But you can't dispute the facts. We did not have a crisis on our border. And just so that, since we're talking about, stimulus checks going out, where many of the taxpayers that are paying for it aren't getting one, now we're paying 89. Let me get to the exact number so that I have it for you. So right now we're paying $86.9 million. So we just heard for the last maybe 2 years how they want to cut ICE funding. And now all of a sudden they're giving ICE $86.9 million to secure hotel rooms for illegal immigrants. There's that many coming through. In Dallas, they're taking the convention center and turning it into a holding facility for illegal migrants. You can't hold a convention in Dallas, but we could use that convention center to hold illegals, which in Texas, 10% of them are being tested positive for COVID and being released into the public. I don't know about you, but I kind of like the America First policy More and more. Every time I see a Biden policy come through, I just wish we had the American first, because right now Americans are fourth and fifth in line. It is crazy what is going on out there today. Absolutely crazy. So now we're paying for hotels for illegals from an organization who our liberal friends said we had to defund, but we're giving them more money because it fits their narrative. We're going on day 62, in case you were wondering, of the Biden administration, where he hasn't given a press conference. That is the longest any president has taken to give their first press conference. I don't know if he's deathly afraid of the media, even though, let's be realistic, they're going to throw in freaking softball questions. And in case you missed it last week, the Biden administration said, okay, well, we're going to hold a conference before the end of March, but can you please give us a list of your questions ahead of time? And to my surprise, the White House press corps said, are you crazy? Absolutely not. That is the first time that request has been made. Can you please give us the questions ahead of time so he could be prepared? You should be prepared on everything. He's the president of the freaking United States. He surrounded himself with a ton of people that should have the answers and be ready to answer them. Now, I know we have our circle back girl who always has to circle back to something because she has no answers for anything. At what point, which I'm glad the media is somewhat deciding to take issues with what's going on, at what point do we say, all right, what the... And we all know he has cognitive issues. That's clear to see. Every week we're seeing gaffes. Well, I don't even think they're gaffes anymore. I just think his age has caught up to him. You know, it happened to Reagan, but it was after he was out. It was a good 5 years after he was out before his Alzheimer's set in. But you can't hide the president of the United States, the leader of the free world. Because when you do that and you show that he's weak, that just emboldens our foes. Which is why you're seeing Putin coming out strong. You're seeing the Chinese president laughing at us and really making demands, which he knows he's going to get, because the liberals are deathly afraid of China, who now, by the way, has the largest navy in the world. So as we're talking about cartoons and we're talking about stimulus checks and we're talking about, nonsense BS, China is building their military bigger and stronger than ours. But let's worry about a cancel culture, because our feelings were hurt. I don't give a shit about your feelings. Facts are the facts. I'm done playing this game. This country is too valuable for the crap that's going on today. And we're only 2 months in. We're only 2 months in. press got to do their job and get these questions answered. And the press, I think, is being called out for what it is. They're frauds. They do fake news. They're giving Biden a pass on a lot of things. But again, when you have a lack of transparency, which we have, when we have a commander-in-chief who's not going to be visible, and when he is, we get videos like I'm about to show you, that leads people to really have some serious questions and some real serious doubts on his well-being. So one of the biggest things in my email this week was this video, and this video was sent to me by multiple people, and they were asking for my comment on it. So there's two I'm going to show you because I think it's important. So the first one is the straight view of what was going on, and then there's another one which is a full view of him walking down, and we can see the difference. We can, again, you make the determination for yourself. I'll give my opinion on it, and we'll go from there. So the question I have is right there, is with the microphone. You could definitely tell that's a green screen. There's no question about it. And the problem that I think we're having is that this press conference here was never covered by the press. And I think it is because they knew it. But by the time this got out on YouTube, it was too late. People already had it. So the other one I'm going to show you is from Bloomberg, which is the full video of it. And this one is a little bit more, you'll see as we get up into the actual view of it, how it changes. Let's go ahead and switch this over. So this is him coming up to the screen. So he is literally walking. So I believe this part is accurate.
Mr. President, do you have any plans?
But watch how the camera changes.
Border,
the camera view changes right there.
Not at the moment.
And that's when you have the issue.
When you're able to
And if you can hear the sound on it, the sound is totally changes.
Who will be the first country to get U.S. vaccines? I've been talking with several
Again,
countries already.
when you have a president who does not show up and does not do anything, this is what fuels this kind of stuff. It's what fuels it. Now again, do I believe that was accurate? Yeah, I do believe that. I believe they did use a green screen. Because again, why would they? The press isn't going to cover it. Like I said, that press conference was never covered. And unless you saw it there on YouTube, you would have never have known about it. Ever. Why? That was clearly a green screen. Clear as day. I would love to, if you want to talk, if you have a different opinion on that, call me, 203-679-9610. That was from Bloomberg. Wasn't some far right wing. That's not some kind of far right wing conspiracy. That was from Bloomberg News. The President of the United States using a green screen to make it look like he's answering freaking question. Or, I think the most troubling part was the answer to the question was absolutely horrible. And it was so bad. I think his answer was so bad, they had to edit it. And I'm sure that in the days to come, if that is the truth, that raw video is going to come out. It has to come out. Because you can't hear just cricket. That is what the green screen was. It was very, very sad. That was an epic fail. But again, like we talked about before, when they shield them and they try to hide them, this is what fuels these kind of things. And when you show a video like that, is very disturbing. Again, if that was Trump, friggin' internet would have been on fire. Media would have gone friggin' nuts. Nuts. Would have went nuts. People would have lost their friggin' minds. But you haven't heard a friggin' word of it. Not a word of it. Unless you're on YouTube. But that's only the beginning. It's only the beginning. Because his staff is shielding him from answering any kind of question. And the next set of videos I'm going to show you is exactly that. I mean, if you want someone, I mean, this girl should be, if you want to hide somebody or you want to kind of scurry people away, this next aide that you're going to hear in this video is phenomenal. I mean, she is adamant. You're going to see a couple of videos of her. And she's like, get out of here. Let's go. And she's loud. Trying to silence the press, who is supposed to be our check and balances for the people against our government. The press is supposed to ask tough questions to our elected officials. That's their job. That's why we have a freedom of press in this friggin' country. Like I said, 99% of the time, it's friggin' nonsense anyways on half of them. Because if they were actually doing their job during the campaign, nobody in their right mind would have friggin' elected this fool. No one. No one. He couldn't think straight. He couldn't talk straight. Hiding in the basement. That should have been the tell-all for everything. But this next video is one where he actually decided to get out of the White House and go do a small event. And after it was over, the press tried asking questions. So we're going to play it.
And then if I could just...
Press, let's go. Hang on, press, let's go. Press, let's go, you guys. Come on, press. We're going to move out. Let's go, press. Let's go. Come on, press. Let's go. Come on, let's go.
Crisis at the border, sir.
Let's go, you guys. Come on. Come on, let's go.
Thank you guys. Thanks so much.
All right, there you go. You hear the media.
Their job is to ask those tough questions. And to just be blasted off, that's not how you talk to the press. Let them ask their questions. That's their job. Their job is to sit there and ask the questions. What are they afraid of? That's the only thing I'm wondering is what are you that deathly afraid of him opening his mouth? So this was the signing. This is the signing of the coronavirus bill a couple of days ago. And again, once he's done signing, the press, as always, is going to try to throw some questions in there. And this is what happens.
Got it. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
It's unbelievable. This is the country we now live in. This is what we're allowing to go on. Why? Do people really not care? Like I said, if this was Donald Trump, there'd be people in the streets wondering what he's hiding. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm worried, and I don't get worried very often. But this country is in some trouble, and this is what we have to look forward to for the next 3 and 10 months. 3 years, 10 months. And people have a legitimate reason to worry. We have people sitting there arguing in the streets about everything under the sun. Everything under the sun. We're talking about friggin' cartoons. We're talking about syrup bottles. We're talking about friggin' rice. We're talking about all nonsense. While the world goes to hell in a handbasket. If no one thinks that these other countries aren't looking at this as an opportunity, you're crazy. You're misinformed. You're uninformed. And like I told someone this week, when they asked what's the biggest danger in America, it's an uninformed voter. Because it leads to the issues we have today. At some point, we all have to do our part to wake these people up. Because we are so close to losing this country. The cancel culture has gotten too much power lately from weak leaders. And we've let it happen. We've let it happen. So what are people going to do about it? That's why I thought it was extremely important to do this show tonight. One, since Thursday, my phone and emails have been blowing up. We got the President of the United States can't even walk up a flight of stairs. But we're supposed to sleep sound, safe and sound. Supposed to not worry about it. Don't worry about it. Nothing to see here. We have him saying that the coronavirus has killed more people than World War I, World War II, Vietnam combined. Even though we lost 40 million total in World War I. But 500,000 is, all of them combined. I mean, WTF, people. We got to start calling it what it is. He's not well. And Kamala Harris is just chomping at the bit to get that seat. The most extreme left-wing progressive ever, who couldn't get 1% of her own party's vote, is going to be president. She's going to be president soon. Mark my words. By the end of this year, I have no doubts that Kamala Harris is going to be president of the United States. And then what are you going to do? Then you're going to have the most progressive with an already Congress that is being more progressive than ever before. What are we going to do? We got to be able to defend this off. And Republicans got to knock their nonsense off down there in Washington and work together to stop the nonsense. But the problem is there are a lot of rhinos that are all for this BS. They're all for it. They're all for these little divisions. And we can see how they're exploiting those divisions. And listen, this country has had a race problem back since, the 20s, even before that, even when slavery was around. But even after 69, there's always going to be race problems. That's nothing new to anybody. Is it as widespread as they're trying to make you believe? Absolutely not. And I think Morgan Freeman said it best. You want to get rid of race issues? Stop talking about it. Stop talking about it. Because it's not that big of a deal right now. The media is trying to make you believe it is. And now they're all here with this Asian hate. It's like, what are you talking about? When did this friggin' become a thing? Stop Asian hate. Nobody's hating on Asians. Where? Can you have a mentally unstable person goes and shoots up a couple of massage parlors? No, he didn't do that because they were Asian. They did it because like he said, he's a sex addict going to massage parlors. And obviously there was an incident at one of them. It wasn't because of race. And not all Asians died that day. But the media is so hell-bent on keeping everybody friggin' separated that they're going to exploit that and they're going to keep pushing it. And now you have your crazy leftists in Georgia who want to put all these gun laws out. Gun laws don't solve problems. Chicago is a prime example of that. They have the strictest gun laws in Chicago. And people getting shot every day in Chicago. They're trying to distract you from seeing what's really going on. And they do it so easily because race is such a powerful thing. It's such a powerful tool at their disposal. Because normally it works, especially against Republicans. It works phenomenally well against rhinos. It doesn't work against me. I can give two shits. You call me whatever you want because everyone who knows me knows it's nonsense. And I've been called everything under the sun. See, the problem is they use it when they have no argument left. It's so easy to call somebody a racist or a bigot or a homophobe or any other kind of thing. It's so easy to do. Until that person smacks back at you. and says, no, stop the nonsense. You know damn well it's not true. And it happens every day. Because the media, Democrats, want to put you in a box. It's so easy to label you so you can use that to play victim. Because someone told me, well, no, I shouldn't say that because I'm white. So I was like, wait a minute. So I shouldn't talk facts because I'm not the color that I'm talking about? Isn't that the example, prime example? A friggin' racist? Do you know what the great thing about facts are? They don't care about your age, your color, your gender, anything that you want to characterize yourself as. Facts don't care. That's what's so great about facts. Facts are colorblind. And like I always tell people, facts don't care about your feelings. Because that's what we've become. We've become a country of worrying about how people feel. And that, unfortunately, is going to be our demise at the end of the day. And this whole cancel culture is just that. Because it might hurt someone's feelings. Well, shit. So your feelings are hurt. Who cares? People hurt my feelings all the time. You know what I do? I move on. I posted a meme, which I love memes, by the way. If you're not on my page, my personal page, I post memes every day. And usually I just throw it out there just to kind of like get conversation started. So it's one of my it's one of my favorite things to do is just early in the morning, just kind of throw one out there and see where it goes. Well, one of the ones that came out was that really took off was by Pepe Le Pew versus Cardi B, I think her name is. I'm not even sure of her name. But it was their Grammy performance, if that's what it was. I think it was Grammys. But oh my God, you would have thought I murdered somebody because the leftists went crazy. They went nuts, and I think it got shared over like 23,000 times or whatever. About 1,000 comments. But again, do you know what I like to see is, again, when you're online, people's true colors come out for the good and bad. So, I mean, listen, some of them I look at and I'm like, ugh, all right, buddy. I was like, not really. But there's others that are like, wow, I never thought that person thought that way. Or maybe, you get to see, people's different points of view. And some of them were valid. Some of them weren't. But again, I like getting conversations started. Now, sometimes I just throw them out there just to piss off my liberal friends. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes I post something and Republicans get really mad. And it's like, wow, okay, that's interesting. But because at the end of the day, we're all Americans. Doesn't matter what color you are. And if it was up to me, me personally, I don't call people African American, Italian Americans, Irish American. I don't use those labels because that's not what they are. They're Americans. That's what you are. And I live in a country where I'm proud of that. I'm proud to be an American. And like I said a couple days ago, in an example of a woman that was sitting in Mexico for 3.5 years trying to get into this country, she took those 3.5 years to, one, not learn English and not to come up with a game plan on what she was going to do when she got allowed in. To me, that's someone who's not ready to be a proud American. It's just not. That's my opinion. I think there are a lot of Americans who were born here who don't know how lucky they are to be here and to have been born here. And they take it for granted. Which is a lot of these young liberals. A lot of these protesters in the colleges that are being indoctrinized by, 60s and 70s, 60 and 70 radicals. That's where we are. I always say that the most dangerous thing to the black community is a crazy white liberal. Because they want you guys to be victims. They feel deeply, and again, this is just the way they were taught, is that somehow you are victimized. But yet you have the same opportunities as everybody else. And sometimes even more opportunity. Now, some people might sit there and go, I can't believe you say stuff like that. But it's the truth, right? It's the truth. If you disagree with me, you could always call me and let me know. There's the number, 203-679-9610. We don't have a race problem in this country. We don't. That's just fact. And every statistic proves that. Now, are there racists? Yes. In every ethnicity. There are whites who are racist, there are blacks who are racist, there are Asians who are racist, and the list goes on. It's never going to end. Ever. But it's not as widespread as everybody is saying. I tell you what, I don't see it here, and I live in a very diverse city. Very diverse. And I'm proud of that. Because I love everybody in this city. I love them so much is why I go out there and bust my ass to make sure that their well-being is taken care of. It's why I sit here in this chair, in this studio. Because I care. And I don't care what color you are. I don't care what ethnicity you are. I don't care if you're homophobic. I don't care if you're anything. Nothing matters. If you're a good person, that's what's going to come out. If you have good character, that's what's going to come out. Stop worrying about what everyone else is doing. And that's my libertarian side. And that's where I find the government. I don't want the government anywhere near my life. Just as long as you're not hurting yourself or somebody else, I don't care what you're doing. But don't let the media and these politicians drive that wedge between us. Because that's what they're trying to do. And they do it all the time. Am I to believe that for 4 years, we've had this major race issue in America. And now all of a sudden that Joe Biden is president, that's all of a sudden stopped. Do you see Black Lives Matter protesting in the street anymore? No. I do see them getting taken for a ride by the Biden administration. And I think they see it too now. But you know what it is? They got paid the money. They got all that money from the corporations, from the government. They got pandered to by politicians. All the further their cause, not Black Lives Matter cause, the further the politicians' causes. Because they saw it as votes. And it worked. As it works every 4 years. Because this same thing happened. Again, facts. Go back and look. Every 4 years. The same thing. History repeats itself. Unless you step out to stop it. Because they need that vote. But what I tell my black friends, especially when it comes to immigration and illegal immigration, because remember, Democrats need a permanent underclass. They need you dependent on the government. That's why they like, and that's why corporations like illegal immigration so much. Because they want that permanent underclass. And this was a prime example of how it works. Republicans, I think it was 6 years ago, said, okay, we'll give dreamers the opportunity to stay in this country legally, but they won't be able to vote for 10 years. And liberals went nuts. Liberals were like, absolutely not. That's a non-starter. But why? Is the purpose of dreamers to get them to be here legally and to get the proper paperwork without fines and without, worrying about getting thrown out of the country? Or is the purpose of getting them to be American citizens to get their vote? And they proved that it was just nothing more but to get their vote. Because they said no. See, if you look at all these little things, you'll see that there's an agenda. And when they sit there and tell you that they're looking out for you, no, they're not. They're really looking out for themselves. But if you just happen to benefit from it, so be it. But just to let you know, in 2-3 months, if something else comes in, it's something that's going to hurt you, I don't care because it still benefits me. That's why I don't like politicians. Especially ones that have been down there for so long. Because you become secondary to them. Which is, again, another meme I put out last week. I'll show you. If you show me a politician that got rich in politics, I'll show you a crook. That was from Harry Truman. That is the God honest truth. If you're making $250,000 a year and you're leaving worth $100 million, and that's what a lot of these politicians down there are, which is why I say I don't trust Democrats or Republicans down there. They're all freaking crooks. Because they're all doing it. You can't make that kind of salary and come back as multimillionaires. Which again gets back to the old transparency. But they all hide each other. They're all shield for each other. Which is why they all hated Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump was the one to come in and say no. The Secretary of Homeland Security said, well, we're trying to put back together the immigration policies that have been built over the last 20 years under both Republican and Democrat presidents. Yeah, that's what we wanted to end. We wanted to end that because it wasn't working. It wasn't working. It hasn't been working since the 80s when Reagan gave amnesty. Does anybody remember that? Most people, in fact, most people probably weren't even born yet, so they wouldn't remember it. Well, we've been down that road, ladies and gentlemen. We tried that. Ronald Reagan, probably my favorite president, did amnesty. And it did nothing. Nothing. You can't sit there and give amnesty. Do you want? I'll give amnesty right now. I'll make a deal with everybody. I'll sit there and I'll even promote amnesty if you promise to lock down the border and put a wall straight across. I'll go for it. I'll go for it. 12 million illegals becoming legalized. Okay, but we're gonna finish that border wall, and people are gonna do things the right way. But that would never happen. So my bet is probably pretty safe. We live in a world where they're trying to distract you from what's really going on so they can do what they really want. And when they say that they want to get things back to the way it's been done, that just means they're filling the swamp back up. They don't want to fix the problem. They don't care to fix the problem. They just want to manage it. It's kind of like like drugs. It's kind of like the war on drugs. It was never about eliminating drugs. It was about how can they make money. The CIA makes a ton of money on drugs. Trafficking drugs and trafficking guns. We go all the way back to the Iran-Contra controversy, under Reagan. Fast and Furious with Obama. Again, when it helps somebody, a certain class out, great, it still makes the politician happy. But if it benefits some Americans, okay. But like I said, then when it hurts them, that's okay too. At some point, again, everybody's got to step up. Do good in your community. That's another way. You want to sit there and fight racism? Fight anything that you feel is inequality? You could do it right in your hometown. Start there. Do you need the government to turn around and tell you? Well, no, you got to do this or you got to do that. Or you got to believe this or you got to believe that. You can do it right in your own town. Be involved in your community. I tell you, it's one of the most rewarding things you could do is to help out. And I absolutely love it. So that's why I look forward to it. Again, it gets me to meet the people. You learn things. You learn things by doing stuff like that too. You learn about other cultures. Listen, when you come to America, you're not supposed to leave your culture there. Bring your culture. But assimilate into the American culture too. Be proud to be here. Be excited to be here. I wake up every day feeling blessed that I am here. Because I live the American dream every single day. every single day I'm reminded that I have a wonderful life, a wonderful family, a wonderful business, and America is what's giving me that opportunity. And it wasn't because I was white. It wasn't because I'm a male. It's because it gave me the opportunity to bust my ass to get to where I want to be. I didn't get a free ride. I grew up with nothing. I grew up on welfare. I grew up sleeping on my friend's couch back in high school. So I don't let people get away with trying to tear down this country. I don't let people get away with saying that they're not given the same opportunities. Because they are. Everybody has equal opportunity in this country. Every single person, especially now. We're in 2021. If you don't think you have the same opportunities as everybody else, there's a problem inside either one, inside you, you've been taught wrong, you've been informed wrong. And I'm here to tell you that you have every ability to do what you want to do. Like I said, I grew up poor. I ended up putting myself into college, working 3 jobs while going full time. I've been well off. I had a great job. And then I've had nothing again. Just to be able to build myself back up and to start a business and to grow that business. To where now I can sit there and say, I'm not hurting. But I also know that that could go away like that tomorrow. So I'm grateful for every day that I get to live this American dream. And anybody could do it. If you're willing to do the work. Now, if you want everything handed to you, you're in for a rude awakening. And I think that's a lot of our youth today. Everybody wants things quick. Everybody wants them in a snap of a finger. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. But you have the opportunity because you live in the greatest country in the world. And I think some people just need to be reminded of that. And again, if you grew up here and you were born here, sometimes I think that you could take it for granted. And sometimes I think you just need a reality check. And that's where, again, getting involved in your community, you get that reality check. And I tell you, it's very rewarding to sit there and help people out. Without doing it for the fame, without doing it for the praise, just doing it to do what's right for the people and for your community. If everybody just started there, this world would be a much better place. Your town would be a much better place. Your state would be a much better place. It doesn't take money to sit there and help out. It doesn't take money to sit there and make a difference in somebody's life. And if you just started there, you'd see that all this nonsense that the media and the politicians are trying to feed you is just that BS. BS. Don't fall for it. Expect the best from your representatives. Hold their feet to the fire. Transparency, transparency, transparency. If you know me and you see any of my speeches, if you see anything that I've done online, I talk about the same thing, transparency. Because if you don't have transparency, you never know what they're doing behind your back. And these backroom deals is usually where this nonsense happens. And then they try to feed you all the fluff to your face. Do what's right, and you'll do much better. So, if you guys have other questions, always feel free to email me at straighttalkjv@gmail.com. If you have any comments, you could always leave them here on our YouTube page, which is Straight Talk with Joe Vollano. Go over to YouTube and like our page and subscribe. Helps the page out. Or if you're watching on our good old Facebook, always leave your comments on there. I always try to read the ones I missed as we go. So I know I caught everybody by a little bit of a surprise by throwing one on here tonight. But we'll recap some of this on our normal Thursday night, which we'll still hold on Thursday night at 7 o'clock. But I thought it was important to address some of the stuff that has been coming out over the last couple of days. I think it's imperative that, we really take a look at, the lack of transparency and the lack of information coming out from not only the media, but from the administration. I think that we have some huge problems coming in the future. Again, we're going to talk more about the China incident up in Anchorage. We're going to talk about the Putin incident. We're going to talk about the tariffs. We're going to talk about the bombing in Syria. All the things that, again, love them or hate them, Donald Trump stopped them all. Donald Trump stopped them all. North Korea, people said for decades that was never going to find peace there or never going to strike a deal. Donald Trump did it in 2 years. The Middle East, do we all forget about that? The treaty with Egypt and all the surrounding, Dubai and all the surrounding countries that people were saying was never going to happen, was never going to bring peace to the Middle East. Trump did it in 3 years. And he kept his promise and moved the embassy down to Jerusalem. He did that in 3 years. Now, these are things that for decades, politicians have told you that, well, this was never going to happen. This is never going to be able to change. But again, that's the difference between a politician and just a businessman who's not worried about being elected again, not worried about whether or not, people are going to like him, whether he's going to make money for his party. He did it because he loved you. He loved America. Remember, he didn't need to do any of this. President Trump didn't need any of it. He's already a billionaire. He was loved by everybody. From Oprah Winfrey to Al Sharpton to Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. Everybody loved him. Until he said he was going to drain the swamp. And then all of a sudden he became the most evil person in the entire world. But that's what it takes. That's what it takes. Don't be afraid of it. Now, could he have done it in a more tactful way? Sure. But that's not Donald Trump. Could I do things in a more tactful way? Sometimes, but that's not Joe Vollano. I'm going to call it the way I see it. You don't like it? Tough. They're facts. And again, facts could care less about your feelings. But until we meet again on Thursday, so Thursday, 7 o'clock, same channels. Okay, we do YouTube, we do Facebook. So if you again have any questions, email us or send us a message on Facebook. And we're going to tackle some of the foreign relations activity that's going on since we're going into month number 3. You're going to start seeing, hopefully, by the time we talk again, maybe President Biden will hold a press conference at the White House. I am not going to hold my breath on that. But so maybe we'll have time to talk about that. I'm trying to work on a couple of guests for the shows coming up. I want to do another one on education because I think that's extremely important. That we know what's going on for the rest of the year. We know what's going to happen in the future. So, and where that money is going to be allocated to. That was passed with the coronavirus bill. But again, we'll tackle that on Thursday. So I thank everybody for spending some time here on your Sunday night. I know it was a last minute thing, but I had some free time. I thought I'd throw one on here because I thought it was important, the topics that we talked about tonight. But we'll get back on regular schedule on Thursday, 7 o'clock. I will see you there. God bless you, and God bless this great country we live in. Don't take it for granted. Love you guys, and I'll talk to you guys on Thursday. Have a great night.